Hello and welcome to the Hypnosis Academy. This week we're continuing with our list of questions that our clients may ask us. Questions that I've been asked in the past. Okay? And the answer that I give and the answer that you can maybe take on board, don't give my answer. Use your experience too. But until you get the experience, it's always nice to be able to have an answer at hand. So I'll tell you all about it on the other side. So a question that I have asked, especially when we're going to use hypnosis, is, will I be under your control? Will you be able to control how I think, etc.? Okay, very, very common, and it's no wonder when we see stage hypnotherapists at work, no wonder people have those kind of questions. Well, the answer in and of itself is no, of course, I'm not going to be able to control you. Suggestions are only taken in if you allow them. The client will only change if they want to and they allow the change. You see, we have a thing called the reticular activating system, okay, which filters, deletes, distorts, and it won't allow in anything that you don't want to go in. Let's call it the guardian on the gate. The critical factor is there. It won't allow anything to come in if it doesn't believe it. You know, you'll hear people, you're telling them something. We've probably all had this experience. You're telling somebody something and they're going, that's poppycock, that's rubbish. And no matter how you try to persuade them, they're not having it. That's because the critical factor is there with a shield battering away the ideas. No. In hypnosis, the critical factor goes and has a coffee, but it doesn't go away. You're never going to get rid of the critical factor. It just gets bypassed. So if the person is not liking the suggestion that you offer, if it doesn't resonate with them, the critical factor will come back. It'll bring them out of hypnosis. I've had that experience myself where somebody was offering me a suggestion that I didn't like, and inside I could hear my critical factor saying, no, I'm not accepting that. What I suggest to people is that when they hear a suggestion that they like, what they do on the inside is say, yes, I like that suggestion. I'm going to accept that suggestion. And that helps. But controlling people, that's what we see in the movies. However, if you give it your permission, yes, it will go in and become a program. And that's why we've got to be careful where we give our permission, and the television is one of those things that we should never give our permission to. Never give it permission. Watch for the suggestions. They're there and they're always trying to put them in, so be careful with that. Next question: can we find the root of my problem? Now, there are two ways of doing this. There is the conventional way, which is let's sit down and talk about it, talkie therapy. And what I've found in my experience is that does not, it might find the root, but that doesn't do anything. You know, it's like, imagine going into your garden and you look at a weed and you put your finger down into the soil and you feel it and you go, look, yeah, there's the root. You walk away, it's still going to grow. Just finding the root doesn't do anything. There's a belief in conventional therapy that once you understand the problem, then the problem goes away. I don't believe that. That isn't my experience. My experience is that people who understand the problem have it even more. I've worked with lots of people who've worked for years with psychologists. They understand their problem so much. They become experts on it. But what they haven't done is they haven't released the emotion from it. And so it still ties them. So can we find the root of the problem? Yes, we can. We use hypnosis. You can use lots of other methods, but hypnosis is great. But that's not all. The next stage is, what are we going to do to pull that root out of the ground and let it wither? That is what we get paid our money for. Not so much finding the root, but then what do you do? What do you do? And that's what this is all about. This is why I'm creating courses to help people to understand how to find the root, and they're available on the website. I'm adding more. I'm just about to do the chair therapy. I'm about to post that as available. And there'll be more as well. So we need tools to be able to pull that bloody root out. Never mind, just find it. And then the last question, will I get another bad habit in place of this one? Okay, now this wouldn't be the first time that somebody comes in for smoking, they stop smoking with hypnosis or whatever, and then they go off and they start doing something else. Chewing nicotine, chewing gum, and become addicted to that. That's happened a lot. Start vaping and then become extremely addicted to vaping, whatever. Yes, people can jump from one addictive habit to another. So our job as therapists is to replace, as we mentioned in the earlier video, to replace the habit with something else, with something positive, with something nice. How do you do that? Well, first of all, you have to get them to dislike what they're doing. Right? If it's smoking, you've got to help them to inculcate a hate for smoking. When you hate something that you're doing, it's a great step. It doesn't stop it, but it's a great step. And then all you have to do is just push them over the threshold, and then they're there. But then what do they do? What do they do? You've got to give them options. So what happens is when you take something away, and look, this is not just about addictions, like to substances. This is about addictive behaviors. Somebody who is always angry in certain circumstances, or somebody who always screams, always cries, or somebody who goes into depression. What you've got to do is you've got to give them some alternative. You see, they have one track. This happens, stimulus, emotional response. And they only have one option, it's like a highway. What you've got to do is give them a slip road and give them another slip road and another slip road. So they've got options. There are other ways of doing it. That's the key to therapy. It's the last step, which is, right, now that we've got this resolved, what are you going to do now? And even the simplest way, you see, you can come up with lots of ideas, but the person knows themselves. One of the best ways of helping the person to create that slip road, that new road, is to say, now, as you see yourself in this place, free of all of that, ready to take a new path, the question is, what is it that you can do now that will be so much more powerful, that will make you feel so much better about who you are? What can you become obsessed about now? That's going to be wonderful for you and your health. All right, install an obsession. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as it's a good one. Something nice like, I'm obsessed with eating healthily. Oh my God, that's not a bad obsession. That's not a bad obsession. I wish more people were obsessed with eating healthily. When people get to the stage where they refuse to put something in their body that would damage them. Oh my God. It sounds like almost like a ridiculous thing. What do you mean? Put something in my body that I know will damage me. Well, that would be ridiculous. Do you know how many people do that? Oh, I'll just eat these. I know they're not very nice. I know they're slathered in MSG. I know they've got genetically modified organ, but it tastes so good. That is an extreme lack of self-love. There is self-love missing there. Self-worth, self-esteem, self-respect. So, yes, feel free to replace that with a little bit of obsession about keeping themselves physically fit, keeping themselves healthy. Nothing wrong with that. So the answer is yes, one old habit will be replaced, but it will be replaced with a good habit. Not a bad one, a good one. Okay, so there you are. There's some questions that you could be asked. Of course, if you get any more, please feel free to ask me. We've got a Telegram group where you can ask me the information's in the notes in the video. Or you can find me on Telegram and send me a message, or you can send me an email. I'm very happy to answer any of your questions, any of your doubts. Okay, I love you all, and I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.